Hey everyone, I'm Lisa Campion and I'm here with the fabulous Jane Bear. And this is the Quantum Mystic Podcast. We're so happy to be with you today. And, we're going to talk about the difference between self care and self repair. And I know self care is such a buzzword. Everyone's talking about it, selling it, packaging it up with pretty rituals and trending tips. And there's nothing wrong with bubble baths and breath work. But today we want to go a little bit deeper than that because I think there's a little bit of a hard truth there. Could it be that you are still abandoning yourself in the name of doing the work? We might end up in a place where we're performing wellness instead of actually healing, checking boxes instead of checking in. And real self-care, it's not always pretty. Sometimes it looks like setting a boundary, turning off your phone. Sometimes, oftentimes, maybe all the time, it's about finally letting yourself feel what you've been running from and hiding from for years. So today we're going to talk about self-care and self-repair. Self-repair, not as a performance, but actually doing the inner work. And that's the theme that we have going on in this podcast anyway. So what is the difference between numbing out and nurturing? How do we meet our own needs with compassion? And what does it actually mean when we actually take care of ourselves, maybe at a deeper level? Such an important topic. So take a breath. Let's start the self-repair right now and the self-care right now. So take a deep breath. Just get a little softer in your belly and just know that you're joining this conversation for a reason. I'm so excited to dive into this topic, Jane.
Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. And if you're listening with us live, we love, love, love when you join in, ask questions, give your own stories, let us know where you're listening from. It's super fun for us. And, I do think that there's sort of it's been such a great step, self-care. So incredible, but I think it's become this like commodity where culture really turned it into something more to consume. And it's not about that, And of course, that is our culture, Like I love what you said, bubbles and breath work. It's like I just immediately thought of, and no shade, but to a bath bed and beyond. It's like their whole thing is self-care. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's super yummy, like yes to bubbles and and of course breath work. But those things can, like you said, become like a performance of healing. It can become things that we just do and think that we're like proving to ourselves that we're doing the work, we're doing the inner work, we're healing ourselves, when actually it just becomes something that we're just doing and busying our day with. And so it's really, again, it's like checking in with ourselves with the meaning behind it. Like what is behind the act that we're doing, I think is a really good step. And I sort of love an example of, like, for those of you who are, consider yourselves in like the spiritual realm, and you've got your sage and you're burning your sage, okay, wonderful. And check in with your nervous system. How are you feeling? Like, are you fired up? Is your nervous system totally on fire? Is sage really gonna help in those moments? I don't know.
Right.
So it's like, what if healing really didn't need to be like this productive thing?
What if instead of sage, you just really need to have a good cry?
Right? Yeah, and sit with
Yeah.
whatever that feeling is. And I think that's sort of the, like, redefining what self-care actually is, and I think it's about, like, self-presence. It's like a deep presence with yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's sort of like there's an evolution here, at least there has been for me as a card carrying retired people pleaser. Um, you know, I self-care was a bit of a revelation. I think maybe we
Yeah.
start with self-care being like mind blown, like it's okay to say no and take care of yourself. Like that was a novel concept to me. And I think I've graduated now beyond that to actually like a different level. So I want to see that as sort of maybe an evolutionary process we go through. That seems really important. So we don't want to diss self-care. We just want to
Absolutely.
invite you to see if maybe there's like a deeper level that you're ready to let go of, because maybe like watching Netflix and eating a pint of Ben and Jerry's can go in the self-care category. So might go into the like I just don't want to feel my feelings and I'm numbing myself out category. And I think, like
Mhm.
you said, it's the intention behind it. Like, why are you doing it? And are you doing it with consciousness around this is what makes me actually happy, or is there some avoiding maybe what's deeper? I'd love to for you guys, if you're listening, to drop in the comments what you do for self-care, because
Yeah.
and what you do for self-repair, because I
Right.
think we can inspire each other.
Yeah, and I think that's the key is, like, when it becomes avoidant. Are we avoiding even our practices that we know work, the tried and true, like, I think I think meditation, uh, I don't think I know meditation, especially specifically silent meditation works. And it can become another thing, if we're meditating to leave our bodies and to, either go into other realms or do a guided meditation so that we're sort of avoiding again the feelings that we're experiencing and having. It just becomes another numbing technique, avoidant techniques. And, of course, like, the internet scrolling, it's such a slippery slope, of, well, I just wanna tune out for a little bit, um, but, ask yourselves, are we tuning out, or are we avoiding, or are we actually doing some soothing work that really is necessary? Because that self-care, again,
Yeah.
is so yummy. It's so it's like, yes to bubble baths, yes to candles. No, again, no shade. And here is Joyce. It says, "I am burned out. This is probably the first time I've done something for myself in over a year." Mm, well,
Yeah. I mean, we hear you, Joyce, and I think especially for those of us like in caretaker roles, moms or, people that are caring for other people, a little bubble bath can be a miracle. You know what I mean? I remember when I was a new mom, that seemed like the biggest luxury on the planet.
yeah,
Um, Time alone in the bathroom was the only place I could go, or 5 kids and 3 dogs didn't follow me into the room. And that was like a little slice of heaven where I could reconnect to myself. So
yeah.
maybe it is all about, are we taking whatever self-care rituals we have, are we taking the opportunity to tune in, or are we taking the opportunity to tune out?
Absolutely. And it's such a great point, especially for new parents, especially new moms who or moms in general. I'm not a new mom, but I still take those moments of like going into the bathroom and this is something that I teach in the mystery school all the time. I give little tools of like go to the bathroom, use the pipes and the waters that are surrounding the bathroom really help with calming and clearing. And so
Mm.
shut yourself in, even if it's a public bathroom, shut yourself into the stall. But are you bringing your phone? Are you tuning out? Are you numbing? Or can you just sit there and be in silence and take some breaths? Those like deep breaths to really tune into what you're feeling in that moment. Those are completely different experiences. So you're taking that same amount of 2-3 minutes, but you're checking in and you're coming into presence into your body.
Mm.
We have Thomason. Hi.
Thomason, she's got some great ideas in there.
Yeah, yin yoga, salt baths, walking in nature, listening to soulful, soft music, watching Netflix with a pint of ice cream, hang out with the birds, squirrels, chipmunks, and deer in my backyard. All great self-care. Yeah. Um, and and I think that, you know, the bridge here is that self-care and true deep self-love, and this bridges into consciousness work. When we're doing this healing, this deep healing, it's like it's when we stop really resisting what is true, what is present right in front of us.
Right. Yeah, and
What
I think like, self-care seems to me like for me, and this is just my own definition of it. I don't know how I think about it, but self-care is kind of like the day-to-day practice of finding loving ourselves, like treating ourselves with actually loving kindness in the moment. And self-repair is like it's like going back in time and doing cleanup work from when you had trauma or when you had wounding, so self-repair might be like therapy or, healing work or, like repairing the damage that we've all had is kind of like self-repair. And then I think about self-soothing is learning how to soothe ourselves in the middle of a nervous system disruption. So I always break things down in my mind: self-care, self-repair, self-soothe, as kind of there's slightly different skill sets and we really need all of them.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And again, Thomason says, I'm at the age where I now ask what would feel good to me today, and I follow the guidance. I love that. Um, and I don't know the first name, but L Blacker. I have an outdoor bath now. Yay,
Oh
bathing
my
in
god,
nature.
that
So
sounds like
yummy.
heaven. I would love that too. I had to cop to being kind of a bathtub girl. Like I take a bath almost every night.
Mhm.
And sometimes my cat falling off the table. Sometimes she jumped on a pad of paper and went flying. She's stalking away with really ruptured dignity right now. um yeah, and sometimes when I get in the bath, I just do like you know um tune out. Like I really am scrolling on my phone or listening to a podcast. It's sometimes I'm using it to deeply nurture myself. It depends on the day. So um I'm sometimes guilty of the tune out moments. And I think about it. Now I'm at least trying to make a conscious decision to do that instead of unconsciously tuning out. Like, what do am I going to tune out? If I do tune out, I usually set a timer because
Yeah.
otherwise otherwise you don't go into the like doom scrolling rabbit hole and where time disappears.
Well,
My cat, my cat's name is Tinkerbell, but we just call her Fluffy Pants.
it's very fluffy.
She's very fluffy. Yeah. Hopefully she'll make another appearance with us. Holy money. Oh my gosh.
Well, and so, when we're talking about this presence of with ourselves, like it can become chronic abandonment, which is a dysregulated nervous system. This is like actually the biology, our biology of disconnection. But when we disconnect from our body, we disconnect from bringing it into quantum terms, we disconnect from the quantum field of coherence itself. We're not in like awareness of creating the life that we want, that we desire. Um, so I feel like that, the timer is such a great tool. It's like, and just really being present with ourselves. When do I leave myself? You
Yeah.
know, when do I numb my emotions, with even work, with spirituality, with caretaking, um, being really, really honest when we're performing for ourselves
All
or
right.
maybe for others, right?
Yeah. And I think for me, like it's sort of this horrible catch 22 that the longer I go, not really tuning into my feelings, they kind of build up and build up and build up, and then I don't want to because it's like sitting on a powder keg, you know what I mean? Or it's like, oh, I really don't want to. really don't want to look in that bucket right now because it's super full.
Yeah.
So, and then I can see how there's this horrible slippery slope we can get into where we continue to choose the tuning out because it just seems like there's so much to process.
Yeah.
And I know when I hit that wall because I'm not a generally cranky person, but if I go through a cranky patch or
Mhm.
I'm like snapping or irritable, I know I'm like, oh, the bucket's full and it's
Mhm.
been full for way too long,
Mhm.
and then it takes so much time. It's sort of painful to it takes days for me to unwind that and get
Mm.
back to myself. And it's so much better if I just every day I'm, you know, spending time like feeling myself. Like, how am I feeling? Am I okay? Like, where am I at? Where are my thoughts? Where are my feelings? Where's my spirit? Kind of going through the 5 layers of the body, the 5 layers: the physical body, emotional body, mental body, spiritual body, quantum body, and checking in with each one of those because it's really cleaning your house. If you do it every day, it's not such a big deal. But if
Mhm.
you wait months and then it's horrible.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, and I know this about myself and just my own design is I have a huge capacity to hold a lot. And so when I get to that, like, tipping point, I just sort of I have to crash out. I have to just, like, go be by myself, and I've sort of got it down in a way where I can clear myself out pretty quickly, but it really is something that we need to do daily, even, as you get deeper into the healing work. I think it's minute by minute. I think it's really
Yeah.
moment in every moment, bring yourself back. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
Mocha Medicine. That's a cool name. I'm almost 90 days in, daily 11-minute Kundalini meditation to rebuild self trust and discipline. It's been wow. As of November 1st, I shared 10 more habits and just wow, so much has come up to be released. That's awesome.
Totally awesome. And I think those challenges work really great, like
Yeah.
meditation challenges, yoga challenges, 30 days on the mat, 30 days, on the meditation chair, meditation bench. I think push us into like massive spiritual growth. If I feel like I'm stuck spiritually, find one of those. Kind of like, if you did a boot camp challenge to get more physically fit, the
Yeah.
same thing kind of works. And I know you've done this, Jane, and I'm dying to do it, is the 10-day silent meditation retreat,
It's the best.
you know?
It's
Yeah.
the best. Yeah, it's
um,
totally it's yeah, it's not for everybody, but, I'm ready for another one.
I'd
And
like to try it.
yeah, um, L Blocker says, "Why can't I maintain a practice?" Great question.
I think that
What do you
I
think,
wonder if
Lisa?
you're trying to do it alone, super hard to do without support. And I feel like if it's meditation practice, get with a sangha, get with a group, have a teacher, have a method. I find it super hard to do alone, and that's part of what we do in the mystery school. Is we have, um, it's an 8-month long program that creates a container with support and peers and weekly check-ins that that holds you to consistency, to accountability, because soon, that pesky ego hates having the spotlight shined on it, and it will come up with all sorts of dodgy little ways to try and sabotage you from your practice. But I
Mhm.
think, I think really for me, I know for me, it's been having support in my life. That's what helps me continue. When I get wobbly, I call Jane and I'm like, I don't feel like meditating today. And Jane's like, get on the mat.
Yeah, I think it's that's awesome. In going right back to, our friend here, Mocha Medicine, I've been consciously resisting this shadow work for about a decade, So that's kind of the key there is, like, figuring out your own discipline and what the block behind your own self-discipline is. I think is important for all humans because we're creatures of comfort, but we cannot do this work in comfort. We need resistance. We need pressure. Pressure actually creates, just like the diamond, it creates like it helps us know ourselves and learn about ourselves. And so, just starting with something. I mean, my gateway was yoga. And in part, and I started when I was really young. Actually, that's not true. My gateway was meditation. Um, and then that led me to yoga, and that led me to, shadow work, and that led me to energy work, and so on and so forth. So it's like over time, um, you just start with something that works for you. And and um and the flip side, I think, is that sometimes that fixer archetype comes in, and it's like the constant need to improve or heal something that's wrong. So really understanding that we're actually not broken. We're not fixing ourselves. We're nourishing ourselves. We're giving our system what it actually needs. And in order to do that, we're listening to what that is. We're listening
Mhm.
to what, like somebody said before, ask your body what nourishment feels like today or in this moment. And that's part of the repair, I believe.
I love that. Mocha Medicine says that discipline is the highest form of self-love, which I totally agree with. And I'm a
Totally
very
agree.
I'm a very disciplined person. I've always been that way. And what was it that our friend in Mexico said, Jane? Doing
Do
the
the
hard
hard.
things makes life easy. Doing the easy things makes life hard. Something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's a, breath work, cold plunge trainer. And I mean, it's true. It is true. And so
Mhm.
when often the block of our own self-discipline is the lack of self-love. It's that feeling, it's that constant feeling like like maybe we're not enough, you know.
Yeah.
Shame cycle is what I had to address. Dr. Gabor Mate, who we love, really helped me with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. And also, Mocha Medicine's talking about writing. Um, it's been starting with 6 pages a day, and I'm in the middle of writing a book right now, and I have deadlines, like serious deadlines from my publisher that I cannot slip. And I was up to this morning at 5:30. I got a very full day, but I was up this morning at 5:30. Did I want to be up? No, but that's what you got to do if you want to be an author. And this is my fifth book, so it's not my first rodeo. And I just know that I have to write a chapter a month, and if I stick with it, it's good.
Well, and it's kind of nice to have that editor who's like, we need the pages, Lisa.
Yeah.
And so creating that for yourself, creating the person who holds you accountable, might be the thing that gets you into the discipline, you know,
Yes.
and
Indeed.
sort of gears it up.
Yeah, and that's how it was for me as a writer. Like it's always a give me a word count and a deadline, and I'm all set. But that's what I really need. So,
Yeah.
and I know there's sort of a whole internal process that I go through for writing that's very similar as the same internal process that I go through meditation or through the things that I don't want to do. And I call it like sitting through the squirm. And actually got that term from a meditation teacher.
Mm.
So when you first sit on the cat, you sit on your meditation mat and you're like, I don't want to do this, and you squirm and you thrash and internally, and all of a sudden
Yep.
you get up because you have this desperate need to reorganize your sock drawer or whatever it is. And the same thing it goes true for writing. So I sit down at my writing table and I literally sit on my hands and I sit there through the squirm and I breathe. And sometimes I rant and rave, get it all out. And then something clicks and I'm in. Just like with meditation is sort of the same thing. Um, And it's the discipline for me is sitting through the
Yeah.
until I hit the flow, till I connect.
Yeah.
And whether it's connecting to myself or connecting to the stream of thought that I'm having about writing. And I don't know, I think that's kind of it, Jane. Like for me anyway. What about you?
Yeah, and I think there are outside forces that want our attention at all times. They, the internet and these things are so brilliantly designed to hold our attention. And so everything
Mhm.
is sort of stacked against us. And I just want to really honor that. We're all in a very strange time to be alive, where
Yeah.
your attention is a commodity. And so we are learning, we are doubling down on these tools and sitting with the squirm and really being present and in like the smallest moments, like when you're making your tea, when you're washing your rice, like make everything a ritual of devotion. And that's the discipline. That's like the self-honoring practices. And so repair happens and we start to build out our capacity to have that discipline.
Right.
And but it takes work, and it takes sitting and being present. And, I mean, I'm always like closing my eyes and taking breaths into my body is my number one go-to. I do it regularly. And it's my way of presencing into my body and feeling into to whatever my body's feeling, bringing my energies back. Take a breath. I have to close my eyes because when my eyes are open, I just get way too much information. And it's like a quick energy reset. And that is my regular daily self-care. And and
Mm.
also, really like each moment, you know, every single moment if you have an animal and you're petting your animal, you're saying hi, like really be there and say hi to your animal, those little things are self-care.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we can sort of sum that up by saying anytime we're fully present in the moment with ourselves
Yeah.
and what's happening in the moment, it's like radical mindfulness,
Yes.
that's self-care.
Yeah. I think. Yep. It's something that you become.
You should write a book about that, Jane.
Okay. Deal.
So it's so important. And you're such a master of the embodiment practices.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's taken a lot of experience. It's taken a lot of
Mhm.
work.
Wow.
Um,
I think this is the time when we tell you to follow our podcast.
yeah.
But yeah,
Like
let's
and
talk about that.
subscribe, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come to whether you're on YouTube or you go to the podcast channels, come say hi and share some of the episodes and like and subscribe. And then, Lisa and I started a mystery school. We're in our second year where we teach a lot. We teach all of this 3-year
Mhm.
mystery school, the Quantum Mystic Mystery School. And it's something that we both are really passionate about and feel like it's really important to learn how to expand our consciousness at this time in this amazingly wild, beautiful time to be alive. So that's
Yeah. And
yeah.
and if you want to find me, you can find me at lisacampion.com. I work with psychics, healers, and empaths to help them open their gifts because I think the world needs all the healers it can get. And I'm your psychic mentor. So stop by and visit me. And definitely visit Jane Bear because she's an incredible healer. Wow. She's one of the best. And one of the few people that I let work on me. So she's all that in a bag of chips. Where do people find you, Jane?
Thanks, lady. Jane Bear Healing Studio. Yeah, I work one-on-one with people and I'm a teacher at the mystery school and really this is important work. This is what we're here to do now.
Mm.
Um,
Raise
and this is
people's consciousness, right? Raise our own and I think it's how we save the world. I'm not kidding when I say that. Like
100%.
now is the time to really lift your own consciousness, and that's how we can contribute to changing the world. It's all we have control over is our own consciousness.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
So hopefully these tools have helped you today. Thank you all for joining us live. It's been really, really fun to see some of you. Some of you are first time coming across us. Thank you. Love you guys. And look forward to seeing you next time.